Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It's Rustabout Collector here. Today we are taking a look at yet another comic pack. This one is actually comic pack 82. If you watched one of my previous videos where I looked at the rarest Star Wars comic pack in existence, at least to my knowledge, the rarest clone pack. This one is kind of the precursor to it. This is comic pack 82. It's definitely nowhere near as rare. It comes with Commander Faie of Bogey Squad and Quinlen Vos, the Jedi Knight from the comic. I'm really excited to have this because it adds to the Kashyyyk army that I've got, And as I showed in the previous video, you get the comic book number 83, talks about Order 66 with Quinlen Vos and everything. So this one's going to be interesting because it'll be like the lead up to that. It'll probably talk about the events on Kashyyyk before Order 66. So taking a look at the package here, it is different than Comic Pack 83. This is an earlier release, and then they changed the packaging for the later release. On the side here, you've got this really nice rendering of Commander Faie. Good Tamora Morrison likeness and everything. I don't know what they may have used to create that there. Then you got Quinlen Vos with a really pretty cool looking artwork there. I'd love to have these pictures, in this art style larger as either posters or something like that. But anyways, here on the back then you've got the other comic packs in this line. I don't think these are at all terribly rare. I could be wrong, but I've seen that guy before. He's like an Imperial officer who's also like a cyborg. And then these are all expanded universe actually, which is pretty neat. Dark Empire 2, where you got the Emperor's clone and Luke Skywalker. That'd be an interesting one to have. And then since my camera room isn't large enough to show this upright, here is the back with just the pictures of the figures themselves. And then you have a little bit of a bio there where it says, Quinlen Vos and Commander Faie are sent to Kashyyyk, the lush forest homeworld of the Wookiees. During the Clone Wars, the Jedi General and the Clone Commander have an uneasy relationship given their very different natures, and their ability to work together is made more precarious when the duplicitous Devarian smuggler Vilmark Grach appears and predictably stirs up plenty of trouble. I think that if I'm not mistaken, there's another comic pack with yet another Quinlen Vos figure, and it comes with the Devarian character, which you can see right there, that guy. And I don't think it's in the same line. I don't think it's like Comic 81 or anything, but he is a reoccurring character, so you can this is one of the instances, maybe one of the rarer instances, where you can have basically all the main characters from a comic book in the Star Wars universe, which I think is pretty cool. With all of that out of the way, let's get this thing open and we'll take a look at the action figures and the comic book. And there we have them out of the box. Also in the box, which I love, because it was the Legacy Collection. You got this nice little fold out of all the other figures that you could get from the line. I loved it when, toys did this back in the day. You get these little mini catalogs. And of course, for me, I never found half of these in the store. I mean, back when this line came out, I do remember seeing a ton of, Anakin and Obi-Wan and Yoda, but I never saw Clone Troopers in stores. I never saw the Imperial EVO Trooper in stores. Those guys just vanished instantly. They were the popular ones. And yeah, so you got some cool comic packs there, the Finn Shisha and Dengar comic pack. Those are cool. I liked the comic packs where the characters were colored like the old vintage comic book colors were, where they weren't really movie accurate, but like Dengar's kind of blue in this, and this guy's a bright green. Those were interesting as like a stylistic choice. And then you got some of these, some Transformers. Those were interesting. Definitely not your typical Star Wars toy. I think I had one of these at one point. I forget which one it even was. I always wanted the Republic gunship, but I don't think I had it. I had another one, and I don't really remember which one I had. And then these beautiful Unleashed packs. I absolutely love these. I really want to get these Clone Trooper packs, this one especially with the ARC Troopers, but they've gotten considerably more expensive in the recent years, so Maybe someday I'll get them, but I love the Unleashed packs, and I've been wanting to kind of just get a bunch of clone troopers just for the heck of it, but unfortunately, the prices, I just can't do it yet. I just can't bite the bullet on little non-posable figures. But anyways, and then there's, these Galactic Heroes and Mighty Mugs, and yeah, that's it. I do love these little catalogs. They're quite fun, quite interesting. And then also, before we take a look at the figures, we'll just take a look at the nice comic pack. Artwork is really cool in these older Dark Horse comics. Here on the back, you've got the Evolution pack. I actually had this one, the Mandalorian pack. We got Boba, Jango, and Mandalore. Really awesome. I love the Evolution packs, but they, of course, were advertising even on the comic books for all the different things you could get. And then on the inside, it's really quite cool. You've got this big battle scene happening here. The Bogey Squad clone troopers fighting with Luminara Unduli and whatever the heck that is. Kind of a interesting Kashyyyk animal. But this comic seems to cover the beginning of Order 66, which then the comic pack 83 kind of draws the conclusion of that storyline. So I know that there's others in this line, but there were only these ones that I'm aware of that were included with the action figure packs. So the rest of the line you had to kind of complete outside of the actual comic packs. So I might actually do that someday. I'll track down the other Republic comic books. I really love them, and they're quite fun to read. The artwork is beautiful to look at as well. So now, taking a look at the action figures themselves, we'll take a look at Quinlen Vos first here, and he's really quite nice. I love the sculpt and just the level of detail on this figure. It's really cool, and I don't have a Quinlen Vos in my collection. I'm not a huge Jedi collector, but this one is really, really cool. I like it. He's got a very unique look to him compared to all the other Jedi, which I know is because he's kind of like a gray Jedi or something like that. Like he's a little bit more of a loose cannon, as it were. But taking a look at articulation, he's got a ball-jointed head, which doesn't get a terrible... Okay, it pops off because of his hair, so it doesn't get a whole lot of motion, but that's okay. It's not the worst thing that could happen. Really nice detail with the sculpt and everything on the hair. He gets really nice upwards at the shoulders. He's got a hinge and swivel there, hinge and swivel at the elbow, swivel at the wrist so that he can do the whole General Grievous thing with his lightsaber. And then, let's see, he's got a swivel at the torso. He's got a swivel at the hip with no knee and no ankle joints, which I guess that's okay. It's a little disappointing, but it could be worse, I suppose. He could not bend at the legs at all. Looking here, though, he's got some really nice detail, if I can get that to focus, some really nice detail on those boots. Those are fantastic. They've even painted the little buckles in, and this little buckle or medallion here on the lower part. That is fantastic detail. He's actually, I think this might be my favorite Jedi outfit design. I don't know much about the character of Quinlen Vos, but this design is really cool. I don't know. I can't say that enough. I guess it's really cool. He also includes, I'll take the rubber band off here. He also includes this little blaster pistol, which kind of resembles Jango Fett's Wester pistol, but that goes right here in his little holster. Oops. Just like that, which is cool because he's a Jedi. He's using a blaster. That's very different because, as we all know, Obi-Wan would say, "So uncivilized." But no, he's using a blaster, or at least he carries a blaster. Maybe that'll be explained more in the comics. And then he also comes with this lightsaber, which I think is a unique sculpt for the hilt. I haven't seen this used for any other Jedi, and I always appreciate a non-recycled lightsaber hilt because it seems like all too often a lot of the Jedi characters all just had the same hilt or one of like 2 or 3 different designs. So it's nice to see that they included this new sculpt for Quinlen, and I really dig it. It's pretty cool. So there is Jedi Master Quinlen Vos. Now we'll take a look at Commander Faie. He just comes with the typical DC-15 carbine and blaster rifle. Nothing really to talk about there. But the figure itself is a really nice, basically redesign of the original 41st Elite Clone Trooper. I mentioned it in the Comic Pack 83 video where I talked about how it's the same figure as this one, but they retooled the torso where they either changed the torso completely or just retooled it so that it would fit a different head sculpt, because this is of course a removable helmet, whereas this one is this is actually a Bike Scout head with a different faceplate attached to it. So it's interesting that they did that. Oddly enough, if you stand them next to each other, this one is actually taller than this one. I always thought this guy was a little bit stunted compared to other clone troopers. Like if you bring in a standard clone trooper, there he is beside them all. And these two line up pretty well, but this guy is he's tiny. He's just a little short boy. So I actually like that they did the retooling on this one and made it a little bit more accurate, because you could army build this guy and use him as your 41st Elite Clone Trooper, because he is basically one of those clone troopers, just he's a commander and he doesn't really have any unique markings. Obviously the camouflage is different between these figures, but I think it still falls within the boundaries of fairly movie accurate. I don't know. But like I said, this is the same as the 41st Elite Clone Trooper, so you know, upwards, hinge and swivel at the elbow, swivel at the wrist. He's got a torso joint there that's kind of immovable. It doesn't really do a whole lot for you. Forward and back on a swivel at the hip, hinge and swivel at the knee, that goes about that far, and then hinge and swivel at the foot, which is always nice. And then really the key element here with this figure is of course the removable helmet, which is a really cool feature that they did. And then he's got a unique Temuera Morrison head sculpt going on here with some scarring on his cheek there from probably the wildlife of Kashyyyk. And then he's got a kind of a slicked back and then undercut haircut going on, which is again very unique to a character. I appreciate that they did add that level of detail. They didn't just reuse another Temuera Morrison head sculpt, they actually made a unique one for this trooper. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not compare him to the Bogey Squad clone trooper from Comic Pack 83. They are the same sculpt, but they have different camouflage patterns and a different base color. So this guy is a little bit more bright green, or like it's really hard to describe the color that he is. And this guy is just a darker tone, more of a sandy tan color, and this guy's more of like a greenish color. You know, you can hopefully see that in the video, but it's hard to describe what exactly the colors are in these guys, because they're definitely unique in terms of camouflage patterns. But I still think that these guys work together. You could have a couple Commander Faies as troopers. You could have a couple of these guys. If by some stroke of luck you manage to get more than one of these at a price that did not completely wipe out your bank account. But I definitely like these guys. They're probably the ultimate version of the 41st Elite Clone Trooper. And then, of course, this one has the Galactic Marine head sculpt here. And as I said before, Commander Faie has the unique Commander Faie head, you know, going on there. So there you have it. That is Comic Pack 82. Really great set. Definitely cheaper than Comic Pack 83. And if you feel like you need another Kashyyyk trooper in your life or a Commander Faie in your life, and you also feel like you need probably the coolest Jedi that I have seen to date, definitely pick this one up. It's cheaper, like I said. It's still pricey. It's above what it retailed at, but as you know, with clone troopers, the prices just keep going up and up and up. So it may be worth picking this one up before the prices even skyrocket higher. You never know. But as always, guys, I do appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. If you could leave a like on this video, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button so you can see more videos like this popping up in your feed. I do appreciate all of the influx of subscribers I've gotten recently. It's meant a lot. I really appreciate it. A link down in the description will take you to my toy photography page where I do all kinds of different stuff, and you can keep up to date with more what I'm working on and what I'm doing there. But I think that about wraps it up. So as always, guys, thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.